list of very, very few things that you need to know to do well at having success with this type of product. Probably the number one thing is, anytime you do any kind of joinery, you want to have nice, smooth, square edges so that the wood comes together well.
And the best way for the folks to achieve that is to buy good stock, is to mill it themselves. What do you recommend in terms of how do we get there?
So buying good stock, definitely. I mean, it's like bacon with lousy ingredients. You're not ever going to get a great result. So,
well, it's bacon. You're always going to get a great result.
Oh, that's true. But buy good material, and often if I'm buying something, of course, this is a great product. This is a Windsor 1 product, which is very dimensionally true, square edges, a great product. But the one thing, if we do rip it, we probably want to do something to the edge to where we've got a clean edge, because a saw curve does not give you a good joint.
And our friends at Windsor 1 have got a booth here. They were generous enough to let us use some of their stock for this project. So we start with good square edges. What is else going to ensure our success?
Well, square cut, but again, that's all about the tools, and of course Festool makes great tools, so really you're starting to think this is more about the tools and less about me, probably, right?
No, not at all. Because there's a lot about it in terms of the process and thinking it through that are going to give folks the most success. It seems daunting when you look at the finished work, but it's pretty simple steps broken down.
It really, really is. Now, one of the things that can help me a lot to get good results, and you said maybe it looks daunting, if I'm doing a big project, there's a lot of repetitive cuts, but I can simplify that by doing a process we call gang cutting. And so what makes that easy for me is this Festool saw has a really good stop system. Now, you'll see some stop systems that they might have a 1/16 of an inch of play in it. Well, you might as well not even have a stop system. But this Festool system is just dead on. So what I would want to do if I have a piece of stock, don't ever count on the factory edge, okay? You always want to get rid of that factory edge. So what I'm going to do first, because I've got a wall back there, is I'm going to flip this up. I'm just going to make a cut. Now I'm going to make that initial cut, and of course, the opposing pieces are like really critical that the stiles and rails are the same length, so I would set this stop, and then just come down, hit that stop. Of course, I want to make sure I've got my material solid against the fence to get at that square cut. So I'm just going to be making multiple cuts. These will be, pieces, if I might have a long run of wainscot, I might have to cut 10 or 12 stiles the same length. Then once I've done that, now, I would have to assemble the frame normally to do this, but I just want to show you something that's important to me, and that is cutting the molding. And the great part, if all these pieces are the same, I can set the stop once and I can cut all the molding. But what I don't want to be doing is going back and forth when I'm cutting. If I've got to cut 15 pieces the same length, I don't want to move that saw back and forth 15 times. So what I'm going to do is get my stop set to the length I want. And because I am, again, I'm going to have to make, a miter cut out here in the middle first. But once I did that, I'd set up, and I make every miter for that side, drop that stop. Once I've got that cutting accurately, smooth the saw one time. And you might, imagine sometimes you're putting wainscot in the wall and you might have to cut 20 pieces. See how much time that's going to save you? So that's how we'd make the pieces for the frame.
And the thing that I'm noticing to my eye is that you have not reached for your tape once.
Well, so I would have had to reach for my tape one time, but that would have been it.
But after that, the tape is away, you're relying on that stop, and you're off to the races.
And that takes my air out of it.
Right, okay.